Now, when the Council for Foreign Relations is calling food shortages across the planet, they're giving us a trifecta of, well, excuses why you're going to pay more for everything and it might not even be available. So let's look at the El Nino, the screw worms, the fertilizer, and now the imports on our foods into America. And as advertised, it's going to be the summer of spending more money. So why is it and what are the excuses given? And how many of these are natural on top of man-made events that are winding into just one ball of twine that can't be untangled? I guess the world's largest ball of twine, and it's in a knot. 25% tariffs now on Brazil, citing unfair trade practices. Proposal marks the latest effort by the administration to rebuild tariff agendas. So coffee was going down in price anyway, but the 25% increase in tariff is going to bring it way back up into the record pricing again, although the global market price is decreasing. Same with orange juice. I didn't know this. Brazilian orange juice monopoly. Nobody hedged on 7 of every 10 glasses of orange juice consumed anywhere on the earth were made in Brazil. We had an atrocious citrus crop in the United States over the last 3 years. So this 7 out of 10, and we're going to pay more for it. So even if these simple things of orange juice, which you consider made in America, are not really. So the tariffs are going to hit the OJ and the coffee. Get ready for that. Chocolate as well, even though chocolate prices crashed. And when I say crash, like some 50%, we have the new tariffs for chocolate and cocoa coming in, which will keep that price elevated, even though global market prices are way down. The destruction as well of the crops, bringing you over here to central Italy on the Adriatic Sea. The hail size came down in a huge region. They're still assessing the damage. I'll get that to you in the next day or so. This just came out larger than eggs, about the size of a nice apple at maturity. And this area here called Acona. I'm bringing it back to the 1930s to give you just the moment of zen and how beautiful it would be to sip espresso in outdoor cafes along these streets here. Also, aerial view of something built into the harbor, middle 1800s, that wasn't there in the late 1500s. View for you looking out over the sea. That star formation there was an add-on, and I'll show you what I mean. If we look at Ancona here, you'll see that to the right or to the east, we have this star formation, Pentagon for the best. It looks like the Pentagon from the US actually, in the harbor with a seawall around it. And if you look at the very southern position, you can see another point sticking off there, very much like the defensive star force that we see around the world. And again, it appears here, this is 1891. The previous map was 1869. And I will take you further back in time. 1582, it's not there. So the construction of that particular fortification in the harbor occurred between late 1500s and early to mid 1800s. So you have that 200-year window there that could have been constructed, it doesn't show, and then boom, it's in the maps continuously. So it was built. So those fortification star fort formations seem to have that building period between the 16 and 1800s. It's a way for commerce to continue. You got to fortify along the Adriatic Sea. A bunch of bandits are running around that time. Venice was a thing as well, trying to protect trade, the earliest of navies protecting trade. And a spawning of that through time. Let's move to the Council on Foreign Relations, CFR, for those of you that know it by that name. And when they come out and give a large, huge announcement, full page for this, the clock is ticking. Fertilizer, food, and the fragility of global agriculture. We need to take a look and pay attention. 73 miles off the coast of Antarctica, and water so clean they're virtually untouched by human pollution, lives a tiny organism that researchers believe may be one of the most powerful anti-inflammatory nutrients ever discovered. It's called krill. If you've been taking fish oil for heart, joint, or memory support, there's something you need to know. Research shows fish oil is 50% less absorbable than krill oil. Because fish oil's omega-3s are in triglyceride form, while krill oils are in phospholipid form, which is the same format your cell walls are made of. That means krill oil gets into your cells immediately. In head-to-head studies, krill oil outperformed fish oil at improving cholesterol, reducing inflammation, and easing joint pain. Native Path Antarctic krill oil is sourced from pristine Antarctic waters, contains the powerful antioxidant astaxanthin, and comes in a tiny soft gel, no fishy burps. For a special bundle offer plus free shipping, head to getkrill.com/adapt. That's GETKRILL.com/ADAPT. Try it risk-free with a 365-day money-back guarantee. Click on that link in the description box below. A lot of top leaders are in these think tanks and associated groups inside the CFR. They're saying the Middle East Strait of Hormuz is disrupting things involved in global food security. And I'll bring you further into the paragraph. Now, there's actually two. The first paragraph talks about spring planting and then the option to reduce fertilizer use as one possible thing. But then they very clearly talk about reducing yields when you reduce fertilizer application. And then the third paragraph, highlighted in blue, you have another choice. You could shift to crops that use less fertilizer because there's not enough fertilizer. So some of the most powerful people in the world in business are signaling to you fertilizer disruption. Farmers had two choices. Now we need to see which road they chose to walk down and how that will affect the total of global yields is basically the article. So brace for impact is what they're telling you in terms of availability and in terms of how expensive this is going to drive everything that you buy, everything. Now, also, we need to add in another layer of the new World Screwworm confirmed in Texas. I got you on the map here. The most recent detection, that dark blue circle just over the border in Texas. But here, this is infested zone number 1 in Texas. It's almost like World War Z that they're showing you on the map. These sectors is what we need to get ready for. And basically, they're telling you all things meat are going to be, well, not there any longer. The herds in Texas will be quarantined. Secretary Brooke Rollins from the USDA putting this tweet out for us here. Detection of a new world screwworm, NWS, in a 3-week-old calf. Zavala County, Texas. They're taking immediate action to eradicate. Yeah, that's the number one word there, eradicate, meaning get rid of the cattle. So that's another layer that we're starting to see. So we got the fertilizer, we got the tariffs, we got the screwworms going to reduce beef. Now the cherry on top, although there is some good news with the Super El Nino forecasts, they've come down a sliver. Let's dive into it, showing you already off Coral Reef Watch here. Follow the red line. The anomaly is going up into the definition of an El Nino. Once it crossed 1.0 Celsius, that takes us into El Nino territory. We're definitely there. The beginning of it is here. So from now on, you're just going to start hearing about this more and more. But I wanted to bring you to the different forecast models here and the different runs. So this was done back in March, and you can see the different models there with the green, with the red, with the purple. And they're bringing us way above 3 degrees Celsius to 3.2 or something like that, which is way above the 1877, which everybody talks about. 4% of global agriculture was wiped out. Okay, we're way above 4% with the fertilizer debacle anyway. So if there is any correlation or overlap in history, we're looking at +4 on that, on the declines. But then we come to the newest model run, which they just did here from the 16th to the 25th of May, which brings us up a couple months from the older run. So the closer you get in on the real event happening, the better the data gets. So you can notice that nothing's really stretching above the 3.0 on the ensemble means. And that's kind of what we want to look at. Yeah, you could have an outlier that says 100 degrees Celsius, but nobody's going to take that serious. You want to stay where the averages are on these models and follow that dotted black line, and it barely touches 3 degrees Celsius, where you saw previously they were up at 3.2, stretching into 3.3 on some of the more well-known modelings. But whatever way you look at it, now we need to flip into how does this El Nino affect weather patterns, precipitation or drought, and how does that onset and what's the intensity? Been doing a bunch of information, throwing that up into Patreon as well as Subscribestar, and I'll bring it to you tomorrow on what to expect temperature-wise running through the rest of the year. But you can see all signals are out for you now, all of them. It is 100% pointing to one direction and one message only. Food's going to get more expensive. Everything you buy is going to get more expensive. The availability of it's not going to be there, and it's definitely going to cause a huge amount of disruptions wherever that supply chain touches, whether it's animal feed or biodiesel feedstocks or ethanol feedstocks or animal, whatever it is, the foods you consume, the things that go into the supermarket, and that whole chain, it's all going to get, well, hectic is probably the best word to use for it. But a good thing to think about here, wholesale urea fertilizer prices have dropped from that $700 a ton spike from $300. Down she goes to pre-Iranian war levels or very close to it. And if we look at the granular urea deliverable any port around the world, down. So this verifies that anywhere in the world you want to buy this now, the price is down. Before there was a little bit of discrepancy on where you could get it, where you couldn't. The prices were higher in some continents than others, but now it seems down, down, down. Everywhere's down. To give you a crystal ball-ish, you want to look in the beginning of the year, January, February, March, April, May, which is planting season Northern Hemisphere, and which countries rely most on that, or reliance on fertilizer, which will show the greatest crop declines or crop yield price increases for you at the store. So let's break it down. United States. Yeah, you're looking at the gray bars in the front of the year. Red bars are sort of in the center of the year. I mean, we use fertilizer and we're the second from the right. I just put a box around that for you. Australia, using a lot of fertilizer in May. Like in the beginning in India, they don't use that much in the beginning of the year, so the price increases hitting them were their final field applications at the end of the year last year. Turkey, another one using a lot of fertilizer in the beginning of the year. Thailand also, but when we see Argentina, almost nothing in the beginning. They use it at the end of the year, Southern Hemisphere. Mexico, also going to get smashed. What we're going to look for is at the middle or the end of the year. Prices are coming down, so the producers will have a break for a moment, but then we'll need to add in the drought index in every country. So there's all these different parts for the Rubik's Cube for agriculture. Just because your fertilizer costs less doesn't mean there's going to be enough rain. Everywhere you look, there's disruption, and I can see why the CFR come out and said brace for impact on it because, well, there's nowhere to actually move the pieces in place fast enough to produce. Now, I got another video tomorrow coming. China lost 7% of its wheat crop as of, and anytime the government in China comes out and formally declares something, you're going to have to do orders of magnitude. So if they formally declare 7% of the Chinese wheat crop gone, it's probably like 21% or 28%, something of that level. So please prepare for this. You're going to have to grow some of your own food. It is summertime. We're coming into late spring, early summer crops. Veg is what you want to think. How do you get yourself ready for the supermarket price shocks? TrueLeafMarket.com, heirloom and organic seeds. Any grow zone on the planet, that link's in the description box below. Please share with your friends and families. Cut this video up, throw it out on your social media. We all need these answers together. What are we going to do and how are we going to solve these problems? So until next video, please click that subscribe button and like notification, turn on the bell, everything, and I will see you next time. Bye for now.